the cold opens were going to be like things that we're watching, right?
I mean, the last two haven't been.
We can do whatever.
I feel I want to hear because I don't think we should get into it later that much, but I want to hear. So there's a fucking ice comic.
Let's get this one out of the way. Hello everyone, welcome to Tales from the Gutter.
I'm Ethan, I read all things comics.
My name is Isaac, I read only comics. We are two completely normal guys who like to read weird comics and talk about the weirder people that make them. Close enough. I wrote a forgive you note for him. Here's what I wrote about his short-lived, well, not even short-lived.
What year was this?
His first was in 2014. Oh, no. He does 3.
So recent. That's still so recent.
His first is in 2013. His next is 2014. And he does that with Hillyard. His last is in 2015. If you're going to get out of the game, that's the year to stop doing it.
I guess, but I don't know if you should be in the game to begin with. That was ever a good idea. What is the premise?
All right, here it is. ICE is as dumb as you think it is. A group of racially diverse meatheads go around and shoot super criminals with only the most tangential connections to immigration enforcement. Doug doesn't seem like he really wants to go there, and that is a major blessing considering how cringe it is whenever he does.
Okay.
The major character, I think, maybe might remind you of a certain actor, maybe? That doesn't look like anybody to you?
It looks kind of like The Rock with that hairline.
It's no, especially because it's 2013, so that would have been, Rock still had hair in 2013, right?
No, he has not had hair for like 20 years at this point. But no, I see it.
And we'll talk about this later, but 12 Gauge does a lot of tie-in stuff. I feel like they had this ready for him, and then they just he didn't bite. All right, I am not going to hold this series against him for a few reasons. One, the promos are read the most controversial comic of the year. So I think it was kind of like controversy bait. Like maybe he wasn't even that into it. It was just like, oh, can you believe we're writing about ice?
You're just fucking rage baiting.
Yes. Number 2, Doug gets in and out of writing about race in his comics. Never very well. Could have been the influence of 12 Gauge, some of his co-authors. But his shift to serial killers and perverts, much more solid territory for him. Like I said before, his last ice comic was 2015. And his website doesn't mention the title at all. So I think he has an appropriate amount of shame about it.
That's Joe. It's no holy terror, that's for sure.
Let me show you the one bit of gold in this series. This is issue 1. You see this? What, is the big tough guy scared of an itty bitty knife? They're all in the back before an ice raid. And they're holding up a knife to him. He's like, oh, he's scared of it. His partner's over there. It's not that. It's something else. His partner gets shot. He's bleeding out on the ground. He's like, you have to finally tell me the story about the knife. And we flash back to him. I think he's in Hawaii. I think he was raised in Hawaii. He's showing his brother a chicken. You said I could cut it up. You're too little. Give it here. You promised. You're such a little baby. Go inside with mom. Fine. He throws the chicken. His brother throws the knife at him, cuts his face up. I hate you, Kai, and he throws the knife back into his chest.
Oh, wow. Very peacemakery.
Literally, dude. That's his origin story. That's why he doesn't fuck with knives. So he tells his partner this story, and then his partner's lying on the ground, and he's like, you gotta forgive yourself. And then he finally takes the Bowie knife and just goes out and kills all the super criminals. Very stupid, but I do love that origin.
Jesus. Is every super criminal like a different race? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
By the time we get to the third one, they're like a super terrorist cell from the Czech Republic that like it doesn't even have to do with ice. Like they just like they like kill one of their friends. Like he doesn't really care about the ice angle. He writes with it sometimes, and it's very cringe. So there, we got it out of the way.
Honestly, very accurately that the least redeemable characters are the ones in ice.
He does write a few scenes of the Ice Ages. The ice agents being discriminated against. I did not put those up. Those are just those are what you think they are.
Jesus Christ. Hi.
We have a special treat today. A three-parter. Our first, what would you call this? A trilogy, but then they have some spin-offs. So our first combined universe.
This is the Materials Trilogy by Doug Wagner and Daniel Hillyard, starting in 2017 with Plastic. Then we have Vinyl in 2021 and Plush in 2022. And all of these comics, I believe, are in the same universe.
Yeah, there's tie-ins.
And they all deal with serial killers. They're all 5 to 6 issue miniseries, all produced by 12 Gauge Comics and printed and distributed by Image in kind of like a linked deal. I guess to set up this episode, I do want to talk a little bit about modern comics in like the late 2010s. Honestly, for me, this is a very peak time. Like we get like fucking Secret Wars in the big two. I mean, there are some duds and stuff, but there's some good stuff coming out of the big two, and indie comics, especially Image, are going super strong. We see a lot too. These short miniseries, usually like 5 to 6 issues, perfect for trade paperback. So the thing with the whole trade paperback publication type and writing for the trade, this was like a trend that started a lot in like the early 2000s. So the term trade paperback actually came from traditional novel publishing, where they would take paperback books to trade shows and they would sell the hardcovers to like the bookstores. So like before like paperbacks were an actual thing that like people bought, and the comic industry kind of adopted this later on with things like original graphic novels. I'm thinking God Loves Man Kills, right? And then collecting certain story arcs like Inferno, again, like X-Men stuff. Later on, they would go on to just collect certain volumes of like long-running titles, right? And then once you get into the 2000s and the 2010s, you have a trend in the writing, whether it's decompression or compression in terms of storylines. Writers are kind of encouraged to start and end their stories at least a certain arc within 5 to 6 issues. This kind of gives readers a good jumping on point, especially if you have shit like fucking Spider-Man, where there's like 700 issues or something like that. I think right now we're at like 670 or something like that in Spider-Man. It also gives each arc and each volume more of like a TV season kind of feel. Storytelling-wise, instead of long-running, serialized comics, you get more of the TV season kind of thing, where people jump in and out of books, like for creative teams. And then on the indie side, it was a lot easier for independent publishers like Image to greenlight these shorter series, because they're not committing to a possible like 150 issue run of something like that. It also gave creators like a way, one, into the industry, and also like a good outline. Like it was a good format for creators to kind of like come in, tell a story fully, and get out if they knew like if it was like 5 to 6 issues, because they're not worried about like, oh, are we gonna get canceled like issue 15, and then we had like 5 more issues that we never got to get to. Looking at 2017, when Plastic first came out, we only have Saga, Monstrous, Invincible, and The Walking Dead all like either in the middle or at the very end of their runs. Like Invincible and Walking Dead, I think, wrap up 2017.
Is that probably Legends too? Or Fables? That's probably Fables, right?
Yeah, Fables. I think Fables ended even a little bit earlier than that. But all of those are Image.
Oh.
And then still now, the only like ongoing Image books right now, I think, are Saga and Monstrous.
It's crazy.
Still, like 10 years later, almost, which is crazy. Like, you still get some smaller projects here and there, but you see a lot more of these like short miniseries and maxi series, especially even in the big two. Like, I'm looking at everything that Tom King has done. Basically everything good that Tom King has done is either a miniseries or a maxi series. Like, I got some love for his Batman run, but like all of his best stuff is miniseries and maxi series. So like 6 issues to 12 issues. All the big event stuff, miniseries or maxi series, like Doomsday Clock and shit like that. So in 2017, you see kind of like part of the trend of all of these indie creators pitching these short miniseries. And I think that's one of the strengths of these books, is that they stand on their own individually. They tell a complete story, but they can exist in the same world, which is something that I see with like titles like Hellboy, right? I've seen it called like the Hellboy model, where it's kind of an anthology more than a continuous serialized story. And it builds through these smaller independent stories where they can like build connections with each other organically without being beholden to all this lore and fucking continuity. And I think that's one of the strengths of like a character like Hellboy, is that you can kind of jump in wherever, because it's like, oh, like just go read Plague of Frogs, like that's a good one. You know what I mean? And you could give that to anybody. You know, then it's just like, oh, this is a cool world, and like, is that one even a Hellboy story? Isn't that just a BPRD story?
I think that I don't think he's,
or the Abe Sapien one.
I think that's I think he's there. I think he's there. That's early enough. I think that's mid. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but like shit like that, where it's like, okay, you can just read a singular thing, right, and then you could decide whether or not there's less investment. I think, which is like, it's the same thing with like TV nowadays too, right? It's like you can tap out on a TV show, but it feels like with a movie you have to like invest. You know,
just to bring it back to what we're reading today, 5 to 6, perfect for this. Each story, there's a central dilemma that is set up in the first comic, and over the next 4 to 5, they just solve that central dilemma with lots of obstacles put in the way. They don't really meander. They go about it in very different ways, but all 3 of them, I would say, are pretty tight. Central dilemma and overcoming that, and then you wrap it up.
Yeah, extremely tight. That's one of the things I will say is like a strength of Wagner's writing. Very kind of cinematic in the way that the stories are structured. It's very straightforward, even if it's non-linear, like we'll look at with Vinyl later, but they are very tight. Pretty dense, too, I would say. With the stuff. Like, it has a good pace, and it keeps things going, and there's a lot of, like, fun details that are rewarding on a reread. So do you want to talk a little bit about like the background of like Wagner and Hillyard and like how they started linking up?
Let's talk about 12 Gauge Comics. This is a very surface level overview. That is how Doug Wagner got his start. Obviously, every time you're looking up comic book artist who has been around for a while, artist or author, they've touched a lot of stuff. I couldn't find his supposedly he has a arrow, like a green arrow, It says just Arrow though, so I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like a
tie-in?
DCCW thing. I don't
like
know.
the tie-in comic for the show.
Maybe
That'd be funny.
that would be very up his alley because he did. I didn't read it, but he did do the comic book for Arkham Asylum. 12 Gauge is kind of a celebrity.
It's crime comics, right?
Yeah, okay. All right, let's get into it. What did I write? 12 Gauge Comics. Again, very surface level. 12 Gauge Studios started in the early 2000s by Kevin Gardner. Quote, seeing a hole in the comic book marketplace for crime and action adventure stories. So their flagship title was 2004's The Ride. Doug Wagner co-wrote that. Straightforward, pulp crime action thriller, hard not to compare to 100 Bullets. I think you said the same thing. 100 Bullets came out in 1999. That's its own thing. Very different vibe, but it did have that kind of like hardened criminal, hardened cops, over violent, very pulp.
Yeah, also what gap in the marketplace for crime comics? I feel like that's like its own separate it's like there's a whole entire like everything that's not a superhero comic is a crime comic, but
someone needs to make detective comics. Has anyone ever thought of that?
I think there just should be more action comics or so, like I don't know, like that has kind of a ring to it.
All right, without having read much of their work outside of Wagner's titles, it does seem like a pretty mixed lineup. Maybe it's what you got to do to keep treading water, but they are not above Greg Weickism with plenty of celebrity tie-ins and even stooping as low as to have one of their comics promoted on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oof.
If you look at the tab I have for scripts, I've got
Oh, I see, like RP. Oh, Mick Foley. Huh.
Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy?
Wait, what? What is it? Wait, what is this? Like,
I didn't read that one. It's like a car chase one.
I need to look at this for a second. Wait, Mick Foley is a New York Times best-selling author?
I didn't do any research into that at all. I just saw the name and splattered that photo on there. Pretty crazy.
Wow, that's the only name that could get me distracted from fucking Rosario Dawson.
I know. That one was weird. Occult Crimes Task Force. Original comic book co-created and drawn to the likeness of actress Rosario Dawson.
Interesting.
Trace Adkins is Luke McBain. And then up there you have this really, I do have to say, poorly drawn Boondock Saints comic book.
Oh, so they have some like licenses.
That's the first one they make, but they make about 4 of those. Look in other works. You can look at the Average Joes. You see the Average Joes. Do the names Colt Ford, Lenny Cooper, Sarah Ross, the LACS, the Moonshine Bandits, Twang and Round. Any of those people ring any bells?
What is this?
Dude, those are very country people.
These are real people.
Oh, those are all mid-level like country music stars.
Okay.
That's why all of these guys are like just heavy set white guys with superpowers. They're the Average Joes.
And then one fine woman with like the Daisy Dukes and cowboy boots.
And big old boots. Yeah, by the time they get to the last series, she is the final cover image. Other people down there.
Okay, so Wagner and Hillyard link up for one of their like volumes of The Ride, right? Like this is like a whole crime anthology.
From what I saw, it's either they first linked up with 12 Gauge for an Ice comic or for the regular Joe's comic that I just showed you. I think one of those was there first. Okay, yeah.
Interesting.
Strong start.
So they get together. Yeah, they get together, and I guess they pitch this first story, Plastic, and all of them share a very common thread, which is they're all about serial killers, right?
Yeah.
So, like, 2010s were a very big year for, like, serial killers and, like, true crime in general. I feel like, especially leading up to this, you have a lot more of, like, the psychological diving into criminals, like, you're, like, fucking Criminal Minds. And, like, that shit was
Criminal
huge.
Minds, yeah.
fucking profilers and things like that. And then in the 2010s, you get a lot of like true crime podcasts, like documentaries, the whole like the big Netflix true crime documentary thing is huge. I think it's one of those things too that's like bank robbers or spies or politicians, like creatives always take the opportunity, ask like, oh, what if they were just bad but for the right reasons, or what if they were like redeemable bad guys, right? So like a lot of stories like try to humanize the serial killers, and it becomes like a trope with like stuff like Dexter and like Hannibal, right? It's like it's kind of like vampires in like the early 2000s or like the 90s, right? So they become like trendy and like sexy and like interesting in that kind of way.
We'll talk about this later, but I think the arc of like what we did with serial killer shows is kind of similar to what the writers do over the course of the trilogy, where it starts out like something like Dexter is like kind of pulling teeth to be like, he only kills serial killers, he's got these bad influences or impulses, they're under control. But then like when you get to mid to late 2010s, Bates Motel, Hannibal, and then all the way, I feel like the biggest example is You. You know, it's like they're not. We just give up. Like we don't give a fuck anymore. Like you either like them or don't like them. They're not morally conflicted. You know, those are three very different serial killers. None of them meant to be redeemable.
Yeah,
maybe Bates Motel. I haven't seen it,
and
I just know how he ends up.
I think you see the trend too, like with comics. Like it's no different, right? Like before, like going back, you have like Silver Age, Bronze Age, like stuff where like everybody's thinking like Batman doesn't kill. All of the villains are kind of like theatrical, like funny, like interesting, like they have gimmicks, and then they get traded for like a grittier, like grimier, like real life villain inspirations, right? Like Cletus Cassidy and fucking Victor Zsasz, and you even see them start to explore it in like comics, like Stray Toasters we mentioned last episode, and then like fucking that one guy's The Dollhouse for Sandman.
And I think it ends up being the Batman, the newest Batman, right? I mean, that's just like straight up like the Zodiac Killer is the Riddler.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, it's just the two things like completely meshed on top of each other.
Exactly. And I think now too, like pop culturally, especially in America, the whole serial killer thing is so it's like part of like American myth now, you know? Like, I mean, as somebody from California, like, everybody and their mom has a story about fucking Richard Ramirez. Like, all my homies talk about like their mom being like, oh yeah, I swear to God, I seen Richard Ramirez, like he came to my window one night and he tried to take me, like type shit. You know what I mean? Like because it's so like it's so part of everything. They're the new fucking Paul Bunyan. You know what I mean? Like type shit. Like
that's so funny.
John Henry Irons of a generation is Richard Ramirez and Ted Bundy, right? And then you got
one
like,
we deserve for sure.
The whole other side of it, right? Too like with like Hannibal and like You and shit like that, where it's like and like the serial killer like fangirls and like fanboys that are yeah. And we see a little bit of it too later in vinyl. It gets a little more meta. But yeah, with this first one with Plastic 2017, we have Edwin. I do not understand how to pronounce his name.
Well, we're getting into it? We're just gonna start the first one now?
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it.
Yeah,
let's get into Plastic.
I think we should. Yeah.
Plastic 2017, written by Doug Wagner, drawn by Dan Hillyard. Colors in this one by Laura Martin, and lettered by Ed Dukeshire.
More so than I feel like a lot of trilogies, we absolutely do need to talk about the colorer for each comic.
Yeah,
we talked about this a little bit before, but
because
it is
the main
huge difference.
Three that stay consistent through this whole thing are Wagner, Hillyard, and their letterer Dukeshire, who I want to shout out because like he does the sound effects in this entire trilogy are so good. Like I can hear it,
Hell yeah.
you know,
Hell yeah.
and nothing exemplifies that more than like the opening of this first comic, where the very first panel is in fucking,
oh my god,
this old
squeak squeak squeak
Yeah.
squeak
fucking speech.
squeak 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 smeek.
It's so good. Just sounds coming out of a, I'm assuming, bumping car, where we get the
Yes.
squiggly line balloons, and
Hell
we open up. We see a hand press against the window of the car with like a big long squeak, and out comes out Edwin
Stoffgruppen.
right? So
Yes, babe.
do you want to give us like the main overview? What is like the blurb of this series? What is the elevator pitch?
The blurb is we have a, easy to say, retired serial killer. That's Edwin. He is in retirement. He's learned to tamp down those urges, kind of in the vein of Dexter, because he was saved by love. There was like a woman he met online who has just absolutely helped him turn his life around. He doesn't have to do those things anymore. Used in a lot of the promotional material, and also used just like for a lot of like good bits, but also just to add another layer of weirdness to this comic book is the fact that the woman who saved him is a blow-up sex doll named Virginia. So that first sex scene we see was between him and his much beloved sex doll. In all of the comics, there is this intermingling of sex and violence and passion and urges used in a lot of different combinations. And this one, just from the very beginning, puts it all out on the table just with that setup. She's going to get kidnapped within the first comic. And what we were saying before about 5 to 6 issues, you have your initial problem and a protagonist that needs to solve it. He is captured. Virginia is taken prisoner. And he is asked to resume his serial killing ways for a mob boss, and that is the main conflict of Plastic.
Yeah, they don't hide, like especially in the promotional material and in the covers and stuff like that. They don't hide that Virginia is a sex doll, but within the comic, like you already know that it is, but they kind of hide it from you for a little bit, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it gives you a big reveal, and it gives time. You get to see like Edwin in his element a little bit in these in this first issue for a while. You see a lot of the little things, because it's not just the sex doll thing. That's like separate. That's like
He's got a lot of things. He's got a lot of
little things. Like he always talks about his mother who is with them supposedly,
but never seen. And it's obvious just from the setup that she couldn't physically be there.
Yeah.
Like they're in a car most of the time.
And he has these little sexy fucking green army doll ladies. Like they're like the plastic army men, but they're like pinup girls basically, that he's always carrying around with him. And he uses them also as like a calling card in a way for each one of his kills. Like when he's about to kill somebody, they find the little plastic dolls. So him and Virginia are kind of, I don't know if they're on the run or what. They're just kind of road tripping.
They're just out. He likes being. Yeah, he just likes being on the road with his girl. Nothing matters to him. This is kind of a tie-in between all of them. Serial killers in this world are very self-assured. They're doing what they want to do. They have like very free existences. They're not conflicted or regretful. Violence and being a serial killer, and in Edwin's case, more his love Virginia has enabled them to just kind of live their best lives. And in the opening couple pages of Plastic, he's planning on going to Rome or something. Like he's going to go out and take his girl out and for retirement, essentially.
And there's all these little things too, like these little details of the relationship to like give like insight into like Edwin's character, and like you immediately kind of sympathize with him, or like you think he's like a nice guy because there's all these little things he does, like talking about like getting her favorite donut, which becomes like a kind of running gag in this thing, is the donut, trying to get a soft cleaning brush for like for wiping her down and shit like that. Like there's all these like little things that he does where he treats he treats her well. If she was a real woman, you know, and he loves her a lot, and like it's very apparent within these like first few pages of this first issue.
This will go into the next one as well, but quickly, can you just talk about like how he's drawn? I thought that was interesting, like the kind of like Peter Pan kind of thing they got going on.
Yeah, so the one thing I will say about Hilliard's art style, he does, it seems like, settle in a little bit more throughout these three. I mean, they're like 10 years apart, like almost by the last most recent thing. But this first one's a little bit more detailed, a little bit more rendered, but his art style is very similar to Ryan Ottley, I would say. I don't think it's like intentional or anything like that, but there's something about, maybe not this so much, but later on.
Plush, it looks like almost the same guy, but that could be the color or two. And
well, it's also too like it's a little, it gives a little adult animation, like a more detailed adult animation kind of vibe, not in a bad way. I think it fits. There's like a cartoony nature to the people's faces and their proportions, but it's still very grounded
with the subtle like over characterizations. Like if someone's old, they're gonna have this like crazy jutting hollowed kind of cheekbones. Like a buff guy will be just like a little too buff, like his shoulders would just be unproportionately wide. It's just tweaked. Everything's a little extra.
And his art style really suits this story because it is kind of grounded, but it's that thing.
They're larger than life as well.
Yeah, it's like it's the elevated real world.
Yeah.
Which is, it's something that's very consistent throughout this thing. I will say he does also, like Ryan Ottley, have a little bit of same face syndrome with some of these characters, but I think a lot of it just has to do with the art style.
Yeah. They're kind of sleazy type guy faces and kind of anime girl eyes for the most part.
So he pulls up to this gas station, and while he's inside, these fucking towny douchebags come and are like harass Virginia. Yeah. Well, a crazy line too. I just want to point this out when Trey, the leader of this douchebag group, who's also like the son of this Louisiana billionaire guy, he says, anybody ever tell you your mouth looks like it could suck the stain off a 2x4? Which is insane. Like, that is insane. Wagner has some of the lines in these comics are like good. Like, he gets the it all is very cohesive, just like a piece of shit thing to say, but like comic book levels, you know what I mean? Like comic book level of it. Like, it's that kind of pushing it just a little bit further.
Also, like, you can stain like a chair, you can stain like a deck, but like you wouldn't stain like just a single
staining? Who's staining a 2x4? Like, what?
What do you do with it next? Like,
but talking about like the elevated stuff, one thing that Hilliard does very well is the violence. So they harass Virginia, and Edwin beats the fucking shit out of them. Like, not just beats the shit out of them, but like breaks fingers. He's tearing off ears, throwing heads into
easily. For all of these comics, humans in this world are made of just crunchy, squishy stuff. Good to the letter. Again, the sound effects are phenomenal. They like really like help sell it.
So good. There's a great panel where he's like shoving the cleaning brush into one of the guy's mouths who has like a plastic bag over his face, and then you get the fucking the gacks and the garfle fucking sound effects.
Gacks and
like,
garfles.
and so he takes these guys out. There's such a funny fucking there's these great little moments too where like Virginia's always hella horny for some reason.
She's
like,
always down.
He's always like, Virginia again. There's a lot of fun. There are cute moments like that, and like that's the thing too. Is like this is a dark and there's some tension, but it's always not undercut, but it's always light. You know, there's a levity to everything in the comic, whether it's like the violence with it being like over the top and like cool, to like the darkness of like the killing instinct.
The villains take themselves super seriously. They're always very angry and shouting. The protagonists, like even when they're really bothered, they'll snap and they'll slaughter people, but then they kind of like they bounce back into a happy mood and get back on task very quickly.
And so after that, Edwin and Virginia escape, and we meet this billionaire mob boss guy. His name is Thaddeus Bellevue. Bellevue.
Oh my god.
Right, he's from Louisiana, right? Thaddeus Bellevue, who great character design. Honest, I really like this guy's character design. Just meathead, fucking gray hair. He's giving Cable.
A little tuft.
Yeah. He's got this big scar.
He's got the scar from his ex-wife. Yeah.
And there's this thing that Wagner does in the writing that I like. The world feels very lived in. Like everybody has a backstory and they refer to it, but we don't really get into it. Like it's implied that him and his son Trey, one of the assholes that was harassing Virginia, have like a very tense relationship. Obviously, like the dad's abusive. He's always talking about how his late mother was kind of like the same. Like she always talked back. It's implied that like he had killed her, and that comes around later. He sends two of his like cronies. One of them's a deputy, and the other guy is Tall Wolverine. They kidnap Edwin and Virginia. Somehow Bellevue finds out that Edwin has been living under this other name, Victor, and he has been a spook for like the CIA or like the government or something
completely dropped. Very weird. He's supposed to be a serial killer. They never I don't know if they'll fucking touch that later. So
it's like I think it's implied that he was he's like a killer, right? And he has these urges, so he is recruited by like the government to do a bunch of killings.
But also cool, like more characterization, like never fucking get into it, but also he used to work for the fucking government. Like great. And
also too, like what we were talking about with like the whole like redeemable killer thing. It's like, yeah, he's a killer, but it was government sanctioned, so it's okay. Sure. Like it's a little bit of a gimme. Like it's one of those things where it's kind of absolves him a bit.
Yeah.
So he agrees because they have Virginia.
Yeah, Bellevue wants him to be a personal spook to get Virginia back.
Yeah, and he wants him to kill the sheriff of this town who's like not cooperating with him. And while they have Edwin tied up and Virginia strung up, the deputy guy, Thomas,
he's got some funny nickname,
we're gonna call him Liquor from now on, because that is the caption that goes off in Edwin's mind, because he licks Virginia's leg. And the other guy, Tall Wolverine, I don't remember his name at all, but he looks up her skirt and he becomes Eyes.
Everybody wants to fuck Virginia. Everybody.
Yeah. And so they get these nicknames for their transgressions, basically, which will play into his like whole serial killer thing later on.
It goes full circle. On the 5th issue, they go back to this same kind of like pier. You can just kind of skip the middle 3. It's just more...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's just more... It's more characterization that these guys are fucked up, that he's a crazy killer. He's got this past. He's got his MO. This hitchhiker girl gets roped into it There is like these like scenes of like sexual violence. It doesn't show everything. Edwin comes in and Liquor's got a lick. Edwin comes in and puts a stop to it tangentially. He doesn't give a shit. He is out for revenge for Virginia, and she gets roped in because she wants to help him, and he's very like respectful of her, I guess. It's a little it's a little weird, but she's now a character. She just kind of likes his vibe. She likes the fact that he loves Virginia so much. We spend the 3 issues in the middle. He's on a warpath, cutting down the guys who transgressed against Virginia, trying to find her, making threat. The son and the father's relationship of the antagonist kind of becomes their central thing, where he's trying to protect him, but he kind of has to use him as bait or something. And by the 5th issue, it's all leading back to the pier, and there is a big climax where they're going to trade the son for Virginia.
I do want to go back a little bit, because as we like learn more about like Edwin's kind of process for killing, he does this thing where he'll cut the heads off of the people he kills, puts them in a plastic bag, and labels them. And that's why we get Liquor and Eyes, and he slowly makes his way through different people. At one point, Beliveau sends another hitman to kill him after he was supposed to have killed the sheriff. And then he also has a thing for plastic. Obviously, he likes using plastic sporks to kill people, carve out their eyes. The plastic bags, he uses the plastic army dolls as
calling card,
kind of like calling card, or to like tell people that he's coming. Throughout, there's some great violence, and the action scenes are really fun and cinematic stuff. Like the layouts are nice, the splash pages are really like well composed. Like I think Hillyard does have like he's got a good eye for like these action scenes, and like the pacing them in a way like on the page that like feels energetic, but he also gets in a lot of these like little details, which is really fun.
For each of the middle comics, like I said, you can kind of take them or leave them, in the sense that we will come back to the same beat where we started in the same location, but you're not bored reading them. There's a natural flow of Edwin will kind of stalk his prey. He'll observe them. It's kind of like the classic like teenagers need to be punished thing, where he'll stalk them. They're potty mouths, they're perverts, they're bigots, and then in the 3rd quarter, he'll destroy them. He'll obliterate them. It's incredibly gruesome, and he'll get a clue about Virginia. And it's always fun to go through. Like, I was never bored, even in those middle 3.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing with Wagner. I think in general, his writing, like it builds nicely. And these 5 issues, perfect. Like, we get 6 for vinyl and for plush later on. But for this one, like as they're kind of like figuring out the flow, like you'll see the structure kind of repeats itself, because this ends in a big standoff at this like bait house on the pier, like on the fucking bayou. It ends up blowing up. Edwin gets shot. He escapes with Gwen, the hitchhiker girl, and Virginia. They escape, but Edwin wants to go back and get Beliveau because of what him and Trey did to Virginia. So Gwen goes off, and after that we meet Edwin's mom, who is a disembodied skull at this point, because it's so decomposed in a plastic bag, and it says mom on it. It's so interesting too, because like as you were saying, the father-son dynamic really does become like kind of the anchoring point. Like that's what we loop back around to at the very end. We see the dad is reading the newspaper, and at the very end we find out that the sheriff and the family,
that's who he was sent to kill in the first issue. Back when he was trying to get him to be his personal spirit. So he's even more redeemable.
We have this moment where Trey is Trey's like mad at his dad for like everything that's been going on and like what he did to his mom, and like all these feelings bubble up, and he's gonna shoot his dad, and Beliveau apologizes, and then fucking Edwin, Virginia in their fucking car come crashing through the window. He's loaded his car up with a bunch of explosives, and they just kamikaze it.
Did you read the spinoff, his prequel?
Yeah. So we can get back into this a little bit later when we talk about the other stuff, but there is a prequel comic to this that we're not going to really cover in depth.
Just the final panel on that one, you know what I'm saying? Like the prequel, but the continuation.
Yeah.
There may be more Edwin in the future.
But overall, like, what were your first impressions or, like, overall feelings about Plastic?
It was a fun ride. Didn't get bored the whole time. This was the first thing of his that I read. Pretty much every scene is grounded in some kind of... He's very much about the relationships between the characters, and that's like a theater thing that they always talk about. Like, you're never bored as long as you can make them interested in the people who are talking right in front of you at this moment. Yeah, I thought the dialogue was fun. It had like a good sense of humor. Yeah. Taken by itself, I would definitely recommend to anybody.
Yeah, I really like Plastic a lot too. With the spin-offs also, I like Death and Dolls.
Oh a
lot as well. I think they work really well together, and I think this is like a really fun story, and it works. Like, it feels like it's too short for a movie, but it's perfect for like a 5-issue comic.
It matches the form super well.
It's tight. It moves so well, and this is something that I feel like it's very reliable with Wagner's writing, at least with these three, which is something that I feel like a little one note, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is very, like, it's fun. Like, it's one of those things where, like, if this was a movie, this is some shit that I would just, like, throw on, you know?
Yeah.
And, like,
for sure.
There's a great blurb that I see on, like, the trade and, like, for a lot of the solicits for this one, for Plastic. Robert Kirkman called it the weirdest shit I've ever read. And that's a little sneak peek into our next episode, maybe. Yeah, like, I really fuck with it. It's weird, and it's, like, unapologetically weird, and it settles you into the world very well. And with things like Vinyl, which we're going to look at now, and Plush, it just
escalates.
You're in there already. Yeah, it just escalates and escalates.
The last thing I will say about it, what completely sold me on the comic, and this might just completely be me, but I think it was on purpose. There's a moment, a whole other thing is that he's got a side character who's a dead body. He finds a dead body, and it's his partner for a lot of it. During issue 1, they had to get across that Virginia wants to fuck all the time. So he would always be like, Virginia, you want to do what? In the second issue, Virginia is gone. He's with this dead body. He's talking to this dead body. And after they become partners, he looks at the dead body and he says, you want to do what? And the very next panel is him moving a dead body, and he's like, good idea. So he set up this moment where you thought that he was maybe about to fuck the dead body with no payoff. It's like, it's very subtle, but it is like playing a trick with your expectations. And if that's what he did, that's such a cool bit of writing. Like, you've got me sold at that moment.
That's the thing too, is like, it's very funny in a goofy way that's like charming. It's almost like a dad joke. Like, there's so many things in these that are very dad jokey, but they work so well because of the way it's kind of juxtaposed with, like, we were talking before about like what kind of like movies these remind us of, and like I had said like maybe like Tarantino, but this is like if Tarantino was like not a cynic. Like, it's more of like a fun, you know, like I guess like I was saying before, like maybe like James Gunn stuff where there's like a fun aspect, goofy, kind of corny, if anything, like sense of humor that is unapologetic about it. They're just like, no, this is like fun and this is funny and it's goofy, but it can also be dark and like gross.
He's playing with the fact that you can and I think he gets more and more confident in it as time goes along. He's just playing with the fact that you can see all this gore and not get you can keep that levity. He pretty much maintains it the whole time. The action sequences are like actiony. Like you're never, I don't think you're ever supposed to be grossed out. Like he's playing with the fact that you can go on this fucked up ride and never actually like feel squeamish. And I feel like as he goes along, he's just more and more confident in that.
That's the thing too, is like with Hillyard's art, like all of the violence isn't gross per se. It's cool. Like it looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like that's part of it too. And I think that's where like Hillyard does like a lot of heavy lifting. Like he makes it look fun and like interesting.
We don't want to be reminded that they're fucked up, like remorseless serial killers. If we see too much like violence that makes us think of real life, it kind of like brings some morality into it. We just want to see like someone's fucking head turn into a pumpkin.
Exactly. All right. So next up,
Vinyl
2022. I'm not gonna hide it. This is my favorite one, no doubt.
This is the weirdest one, without a doubt.
We got Wagner, we got Hillyard, and the fucking GOAT, Dave Stewart on colors. He and Jordi Belair, like, in terms of colorists in comics, is like now, especially to like, if you're a comic reader, you will know their names or like recognize their shit because it's fucking peak. Like this one especially, it's so good. It's so pretty to look at. Like I think Hilliard's art in this one is great. The colors are awesome, and fucking Ed Dukeshire on letters is fucking awesome. Like like the sound effects in this one, especially because this is very music focused, which is something that can be cringy at times, especially in comics. For like this, it's worked in so well. Like the lettering in this book is like beautiful. Like this is a masterclass in like sound effects and like incorporating like music and things into a comic book, like for a visual medium. And for me, Wagner's writing is so tight, and he does take a little bit bigger of a swing with this one because it's very non-linear in the structure.
The premise of the show basically is that I don't know any of these comic book people's names, but even I could tell like the coloring on this one does just take it to a whole other level.
Yeah.
The first one, the one we just read, I feel like it was about like shadows and neon. Very cool, very dark. It did have some like nice like depths to it. It wasn't too when we get to the third one, I feel like those are very like bright colors, kind of like just like without too much like shadowing to them. This second one, the choices that he makes tied into this kind of garden sunflower motif that runs throughout the whole thing. It's very summertime horror.
Very midsummer, like in that like dark, gross, disgusting shit over just like bright, saturated, pretty ass character design and like artwork. So Vinyl 2022, this is their second collaboration in the materials trilogy proper. Plastic. Now we have vinyl. We're returning to this world of cartoonish serial killers.
Living their best lives.
Structurally, this has a very similar setup, something that is consistent throughout 3, which is serial killer guy gets wrapped up in this bigger corrupt politicians slash law enforcement or like a cult mob thing that
a powerful person who is using their influence to abuse others.
and it all culminates in like a raid basically, or a big kind of standoff. Yeah. And this one I think is, from like a reader perspective, it's the most fun because it's structured like a heist movie. So much of it is like the main assault on this cult compound, and throughout we get these flashbacks of like, oh, how did we get here? This new thing that's introduced, like what is the backstory of this person or this thing? So how does Vinyl start?
I'm gonna give a ton of information as an example of how much information that he gets in. We're gonna leave aside the flash forward. The flash forward is just a wild moment from the middle of the comic, maybe the middle end. So if we skip the flash forward, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. Within 10 pages, we know that there's a serial killer. There's an FBI agent who's trying to catch him.
Walter is the serial killer. And Dennis.
Walter is the serial killer. Dennis is the FBI agent. Walter treats and thinks of Dennis as a friend. Dennis just fucking wants Walter to fess up to these fucking crimes. This could get across like very, very quickly, but it feels like they're getting in so much because it's all through these like pretty slow burn, great characterization, fun conversations that they're having. It's never didactic and never feels like an info dump. It's got a great rhythm to it, but you get all that information across. And then the biggest switch, it happens around like the 5th page. There, you have to buy the premise that there's this very strange relationship between a serial killer and an FBI agent that's like somewhat playful, but high stakes.
Yeah. And Walter has this proclivity for music. That's one thing too that's like established very early on. And Dennis's whole thing is that he's trying to bait him into confessing by giving him records that reference these murders that have been happening, where a record has been played every time a person is killed. And so we meet them at this like coffee shop, like daytime coffee shop thing. They're having their like Batman Gordon-esque thing, Hannibal fucking conversation. Charlize Theron pulls up.
Yes. The page you've got up right now, you have to buy it here. You have to buy it here. In the next 2 pages, we just did 8 pages of this like fun setup. Now there is a cult leader right in front of you with all these flower children behind, someone wearing a spooky mask, this like prepper looking guy, and we just dramatically take the entire comic in a new angle. She's got beef with this FBI guy. The FBI guy is Walter's Virginia. He's taken from him, and he's got to go save him from this, the more you know, like the more and more bizarre cult.
Yeah.
And that's like, it feels, to me, I was like, that's a little like ham-fisted. Like, how the fuck did they just throw that in there? But honestly, everything I just told you, with a little bit of exceptions, is kind of all you need to know for the next like 5 comics.
And that's the thing too with this, like, Wagner does a great job of like just dropping you in the world. Like these are people that have lives and backstories and connections with each other. Because the thing is that Madeline, this cult leader, her son was imprisoned by Dennis. He's out and now he's free. And he's this giant fucking Bane-ass motherfucker who keeps killing all the girls that he's supposed to, like, be betrothed to. And Dennis's daughter is part of this cult, and she's using that as leverage to convince him to come back with her. And in this page where you're first introduced to her, you get so much visual information about kind of, like, the layout of her, like, squad. Like, she has this yellow mask lady in all white. She's got all white on, and then she has this mercenary with her too. So she has her, like, her team is comprised of her cult members, these superhuman zombie ladies, and then the mercenaries.
That their whole thing is the backdrop. The cult is the setting. So the comic doesn't want to explore them at all. They just have weird shit in their big mansion, and Dennis has to get into the mansion. It's really weird, but it's a swing, and it kept it fresh. The Comic book wants to talk about the serial killers, the relationships between the serial killers, the relationship between the FBI and the serial killers. That's what it's interested in. It could have done that in a bank heist. It could have done that with another revenge thing. Could have done that with like a corrupt sheriff, like we'll get later. It just chose to go this bizarre direction, which I think adds a ton, makes it very interesting and very strange.
And we get this also great character moment where Walter, he follows them to the mansion, and he has this exchange with the lady. There's like almost like a child like quality to Walter, because he's an old guy, and he's just kind of like just this affable, like just nice dude. And like these are the things too that, like, with the design from Hillyard and Wagner's writing, like you really get a good sense of the character. Like Walter seems like the most harmless guy ever, and he literally rides up on a little fucking bicycle and is like, hey, like, where'd you take my friend?
Let my friend go.
And as he leaves, he's turned away, and he leaves a note in the mailbox to be sent out, and that will come back around later. And we get this fun page that I think does a really good job of kind of getting across like those like cinematic, like cutting back moments like that you would get in like a Ocean's 11 movie, but it translates super well in Hilliard's like layout and his art. You get Dennis's partner Ruiz, Vic. We get Dennis's partner Ruiz, Victoria Ruiz, who he had been on the earpiece with
the comms,
who is finding out like Dennis has been taken, and like the FBI doesn't want to do anything about it because he had gone willingly. Interspersed with these panels of New York City Fashion District, a skin suit being sewn with bones, and Monson, Pennsylvania, bloody chainsaw and monster masks, and Kansas City
movie props.
Kansas City, Missouri, like a garbage man, and they're all getting
the trash man
phone calls. Yeah, I'm the trash man. That's my thing. I just throw trash around. I wish he had a bit like that. I wish he had a bit like that, but that would be funny. And then we just get right into it too. So that's all of like the backstory we get. Like initially at the very, very beginning opening page, we get like an in media res of like this assault. Dennis is bleeding out. He's got the zombie lady after him, and he's telling Walter to put on the mask, which is this teddy bear mask.
Also
and then we cut to their initial conversation. And then after all this, we just get into it. The end of this issue, we get a fun security camera POV of Walter pulling up on the compound and just taking everybody out. And he's in his like suit, and he's got a teddy bear, like old ass, like falling apart teddy bear mask on. Again, some great fucking art and some great sound effects. Like I can hear this, like it's that whole like staticky security camera footage with just gunshots going off in the background.
People say this sometimes, and sometimes people say it like too much, but I do think like the chills you get from this one is one of those things that like you can only do in a comic book. There's panel by panel the guards not moving in the same position, and the guy in the bear suit popping up in different places. So just the way your brain fills in, oh my God, like he's just like, he's faster than them. He's very mysterious. Like he's a killer. Like there's just like a threatening vibe to it with like a big black cutout and just squishes at the end. It's very cinematic. It's badass. Yeah. It just looks really fucking cool.
I think Hillyard uses like the comic book language very well, like with the paneling. So throughout this story, this raid, that's the main framing device. And it's basically
he's got to get his
Walter friend. Teams up / kidnaps Ruiz to help him get back Dennis, and throughout the book he's going through just taking out, it's very Game of Death, right? We get him just going through the levels of the cult, taking out different people, and throughout we find out that he has also recruited other serial killers, and that
he is assembled an elite team. He got the gang back together.
Yeah, and they're all equally as kind of not gimmicky sounds bad, but they all have this like fun cartoonish bit that they're doing. Everybody has their own character, and it's fun.
The twins are horror fans. That's their thing. Their kills are homages.
They are the Scream franchise personified, horror movie obsessed young serial killer twins. And we have Guy.
That's his thing. He throws trash.
If trash is blood and guts, then yes.
Dude,
he just literally goes around just like grabbing people and like snapping their necks.
Look at the vinyl highlights, dude. I have my favorites on there. He's just a big fucking guy.
Yeah, he's just a big fucking dude who's also like just chill. Like he's like a chill guy. Like he's just he's a
Boris Karloff looking.
And
fucker.
then so we have the twins, Guy, and Rennie. Who is the skin suit fashion designer.
Yeah. She gets her own comic later.
Yeah, she gets the spin-off, the sequel, I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, later on. And her whole thing is the people that she kills, she bathes in their blood and makes a skin suit out of them. So we have these 3 or 4, if you're counting Walter.
5 if you
has
count the twins as
them.
separate people.
Yeah. We get Walter, who is Snap, the teddy bear mask, who listens to music while he's killing people. We have the twins, Guy and Rennie, and they go through just making their
level
way
by level,
through the cult. We also find out on the Madeline side, the Bellini Sunflower Farm cult. Madeline is Charlize Theron. She has her mercenaries, which she ends up dropping later on because they start getting killed, and she does the great little like, "Oh, you're fucking incompetent," kills them all thing, which is great.
Yeah.
And then she has the yellow gold mask ladies who Walter tells the twins are haints, like their souls trapped in dead bodies, basically. Which is also a thing that they reference in Sinners too. Like that's what they call. That's what they think the vampires are to begin with. So we introduce this supernatural element.
Yeah, it's the only one.
Right?
It's the only
it's
one.
Like a cult supernatural. Well, also, I mean, like Plush too. We'll get into later. It's less concrete.
Oh yeah,
fantastical it is.
Yeah.
Right. But this one, they just go for it.
Yeah.
We also find out that Madeline has her mother is locked in the basement, and she's like a zombie, like a super zombie lady.
Yeah.
And then her son is this crazy, like fucking redneck Bane looking guy.
There's also like a chef that eats people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have like the butcher lady.
They're like Silent Hill bosses. Like they don't get a ton of characterization. They just like exist to show up to kill or be killed by the killers as they progress their way through the mission.
And throughout we get little flashbacks of Walter going and recruiting all of his friends.
Yeah.
Rennie had given him an MP3 player. She is kind of his, I guess, like pseudo daughter-esque character.
Yeah,
like she takes care of him because he's like kind of like a confused old man in a way, which we'll get to later. The twins are they're fanboys, and they're fanboys of Walter and Rennie and Guy.
Especially Rennie, my God.
Yeah. Good dude, who wouldn't be?
Who wouldn't be?
There's so like I gotta take a moment to be a little thirsty, because fucking Rennie has that. She's just that like classic, like the fucking goth characters in like old cartoon. You know what I mean? Does that like awakening of like she's just like.
Ethan, if you'll check my reference images covers, scroll down to it's the one of 2 different covers that I included.
God, yes.
Also slightly Asian coded. I don't think I'm crazy for saying that.
Yeah. There's some great little character moments too. Again, Wagner just making the world feel lived in. You get these little things that they do, like Rennie's always scratching. The way that he kind of gives the reader information just very casually without like dwelling on it too much. Even her bathing in blood thing, it's treated extremely
something she's got to do.
Everybody's used to it. It's just something that she does. And like, we don't explain it, but it's something that it's taken as a fact of the world. Even the twins, they reference, they talk about, oh, how cool would it be if she made a skin suit out of them. Which ends up happening later on, because they are murdered by Madeline's fucking Bane ass son.
Yeah. Like I said, the cult is the backdrop. The emotional heart of this entire run is that all of the serial killers are sensitive, emotional, fiercely loyal, chill people who also kill probably innocent people for fun. They like, we don't get into it in this. It doesn't matter. Like, we just get scene after scene about these like really well characterized, empathetic, like pretty cool relationships that they all have with each other. That's what the comic is about.
Exactly. Everybody feels very human, and like they have history with each other, and that their relationships, for a lot of them, this is the end of their relationships. This story, which I think is fun. Like you're meeting them all in the twilight of their lives, which is something like this could easily be like, I could see if we were starting from the beginning, this could be like a long running series where this is kind of the end of it. Like this is like their big kind of send off, but we get kind of dropped at the end of their stories, which is really fun.
It's their Red Dead Redemption.
Surprisingly tender moment when the twins die and Rennie has to make a suit out of their skin, and she's crying and just like thinking about them, and which I think is really fun.
One of the twin dies and the other one cuts his throat because he doesn't want to live without the twin, and he's like, please make me into a skin suit, and she's like, okay, I promise. Honestly, dude, I'm just gonna power through. I don't think it's that big of a beat. He has Alzheimer's and he has to keep the MP3 player on at all times. If he doesn't have the MP3 player on, then he doesn't know where he is. It's like sometimes Alzheimer's patients can be reminded of things if music is playing, and it just takes that concept and turns it up to 11. It happens about halfway through. It's a good way to take them out. Sorry,
we have a scene where Dennis and Walter finally link up together, and the zombie mom is this is the flash forward that we get at the very beginning. The zombie mom is about to kill Dennis. The record that they had been playing, his MP3, break, and he gets confused, and Dennis has to like sing like fucking this old man nursery rhymes so that Walter can lock in, put the mask on, and like get back to it.
It's not meant to be like a serious thing about Alzheimer's. It didn't really like bug me. I just thought it was a little goofy, but as a plot thing, it works. It does keep things interesting.
There is like kind of a fun, it's like a fun twist that adds like a little bit of like
tension
that just adds more layers to
characterization too. That's why he always has the records.
So do we want to talk a little bit before we get to the very end? Do you want to talk a little bit about some of like the best like kills and deaths?
I mean, the one you've got up right now, all the Trash Man stuff was fun. The Trash Man is looking for a glorious death because They reference Edwin and Virginia. They're like, wow, the old heads are getting wiped out. So he gets he like douses himself. He's getting fucked up by the Haints, and he like douses himself in oil. He's got a really like burned out muscle panel. It looks pretty good. That was a fun ending for him.
The panel where Rennie like premieres her twin skin suit is great. She always got these bone daggers that she kills the Madeline's son with, which is a awesome fucking panel also.
Yeah. The skin suit does look good. It's got like that hanging jaw, like that little floppy jaw at the bottom. I like that.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. And then once Walter fucking locks in, there's some great final push like to the end is really fun, because a lot of it you don't see is like they do a lot of the fun things where you only see some of the big hits, and then some of the more like crazy gruesome things you get kind of like the corner of, like you just get a little tiny piece like the frame. And one of my favorite parts is where he takes out 3 Haints at once and you don't really see it. You just see masks dropping, and then you get this fun panel of 3 Haints all like stood up by the spears that they're holding, like through their heads and like through the bottom of one of their chins that's just holding them all up together, which it looks so good. And
what you were saying before about him knowing how to use like the structure of a comic, like if you like take your time with this panel, like your brain does just like do a lot of filling in the gaps, and it's just a ton of fun. I really like
and he has some great build-ups to like taking moments for the fight scenes where you get the big 2-page splash with like these big motions and stuff like that. His final standoff with Madeline is really fun, and the way that they incorporate the music, it's always just kind of drifting around in the background. And it's not super like, it's not intrusive, like whether it's the lyrics or like actual musical notes that you see playing around. And it ends with Walter and Madeline, like they both kind of kill each other, and the whole sunflower farm goes up in flames. And at the very end, we get another kind of, we mirror the panels at the very beginning with we see the behavioral analysis unit, the FBI in Quantico, Virginia, and then we see Dennis's house in Missouri, and it's interspersed with the twins' house empty, the street where Guy was empty, and Rennie interviewing to be part of like the New York Fashion Institute. And within this, Dennis gets the letter that Walter had mailed at the beginning, and it's his confession where he gives him the location of a storage locker full of records that he had taken from his victims.
Each record is a kill. Oh my God, there's hundreds. Again, one of those things you can't look too closely at. It kind of changes the whole like story if you're like, wait, who are these people?
And then we get the little Kaiser Sose moment where a faceless man is sitting on a Greyhound bus to who knows where, and music starts playing and he starts snapping. And that's the end of that one.
Yeah. I'm a little more sold on this one, after we spent time on it.
Yeah, this one's super fun, like super tight, wacky. The characters are great. I really love the twins because like a lot of the times the whole like meta movie like bits can be a little bit grating in other things, but this one, it's fun. Like you can tell like Wagner likes this shit. Like it's really awesome to look at. The wraparound covers for this, I picked this up as a trade when this first came out, and when I saw the wraparound covers, I went and looked for some of the, like, I have the sunflower one.
Who you got? All right, we got Sunflower. You got. I really
want the Rennie one. Of course, I don't want the fucking.
Gotta get the Rennie, dude.
But yeah. But some of the alt covers of this are great. Just the art's awesome. Like, this one is one, if I was to recommend one out of these three to anybody, it would be this one, because this one has it all.
Yeah.
In terms of like the art, the writing, it's tight, it's punchy, it's funny, and it's just fucking weird as hell. Like, and like it's a fun read. This is something that I think I will come back to like every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is something that I'll just like, I'll flip through and just like read different scenes, and just like the character dynamics are really fun for this one.
Yeah. Well, now that we've shit all over it, we can go to the last one. This next one sucks.
Like, that's the thing, is like, I think like mileage may vary on all of these, but I think the quality is pretty consistent. I would even though vinyl is my favorite, I wouldn't say like Plush or any of the other ones are bad. At their worst, they're kind of like, it's mid, but still fun and cool, and
interesting.
I still like it a lot. So Plush comes out 1 year later, 2023, or it starts the year that the first issue, I think, comes out the year
before it's even out, or before it's finished.
Vinyl's like trade paperback comes out, because let me see. So November 2021. Oh yeah, it's like a full year.
2021. 2022.
So yeah, November 2021 is the last vinyl issue. The trade paperback comes out early 2022. Plush starts November 2022. And this one is like, just from the first cover, you can tell that he's just going for it. Right away. Plush follows Devin Fulcher, who was in a relationship with the daughter of the sheriff of this small town, and he finds out that she had been cheating on him with one of the deputies.
All of this is coming out in a conversation with his friend, where he's still like kind of processing the emotions. He's still mad about it. He feels betrayed. I think in a very tight conversation, we get cuck status in a couple panels. Very, very, very snappy shitting on our protagonist.
Yeah, a little bit. And that's one thing too, like with this, I think Hillyard, I wouldn't say it's like a weakness, but when it gets to like more regular human stuff, I feel like it's not as like exciting. You need a little bit of like the weird context, and I think he provides this through the furry thing. His roommate is a furry, and he convinces him to go to this furry convention, where he also fucking gives him Molly.
Oh, he just fucking roofies him. To get his mind off things.
Yeah, he roofies him. Yeah, he's just like, bro, a little something to take the edge off.
A lot of something.
And in this panel, a little tie-in moment, you see Snap in the corner with his teddy bear mask on during this furry convention, which is like a nice little Easter egg. But this one, we go right into it within a few pages. Devin's at the furry convention. He's sick from the Molly. He goes outside to throw up, and he sees this group of furries eating somebody. So the setup of this one, Devin pulls up on this group of furries. We have this goat man, who I will say, it does not look very much like a fursuit. It just looks like a fucking
human goat
costume, like an actual. Yeah, just like an actual goat. Cat girl,
she's
Ellie.
pretty furry. Cat girl's pretty furry.
Goat guy, Scratch. Ellie is a cat girl. And then this third one, we never see their face. We never see their actual body. But it is a pink, I don't know. It looks like Magikarp. Like the head looks like Magikarp, but it's like a blonde wig, and it's just this like thick woman.
It's a fursuit of a human.
Like, it's not even like a fursuit.
It's like, but I'm saying like
what a
fursuit is to a cat, this suit is to a human. You know?
Yeah, it's like a fursuit of
a lingerie wearing
Miss Piggy. If Miss Piggy was a person, if it was like an actual human, and then you made a fursuit of that, that's what it looks.
There's only too many different ways to say that. We've got an erection looking at this right now.
And that is Keebler.
Keebler.
And they are just casually. We get a line from Scratch where he's like, "Hey, this isn't as bad as it looks," and they just have like flesh hanging from their mouths, and they're just over this body.
He runs away. What the fuck is this? I'm out.
Yeah, and he runs into the deputy that his ex was having an affair with, who had cheated on him with.
Wait, no, the deputy is the father. Wait. Oh, wait, no. You're right.
No, the deputy, the sheriff is the father.
Right.
Yeah, the deputy is the guy that she was cheating on him with. Also, too, some great character moments because he takes him to the police station.
Takes him to the evidence locker.
And the sheriff is trying to pressure Devin into still marrying his daughter. Because Devin was thinking about proposing, and he finds out that she was cheating, and the sheriff
pregnant. She's pregnant with the guy's baby.
Yeah, and so the sheriff wants Devin to still marry his daughter and raise.
He needs the family connections.
Son. Yeah, because Devin's family is very well connected in the city. But we hit this the sheriff, the deputy is so funny because he's just this meathead guy who's just yo, bro, it's all chill, dude. We're just I'm so.
She doesn't like condoms.
Not even. Yeah, he's just sorry, not sorry, bro. What are you gonna do about it? Which there's some really fun the little side characters in the world. Again, feel super lived in. Yeah. But obviously, the sheriff is a piece of shit. They're well, if you're not gonna marry my daughter, I'm gonna get my deputies to beat the shit out of you. There's one kind of good officer that the other deputies tie up, right?
So that they can go beat the shit out of the guy.
Yeah, so that they can beat the shit out of Devin. And Devin, while he's in the cell, he sees Keebler outside the window.
Keebler pops up covered in blood, yeah.
Second issue opens with all the furries, Scratch, Ellie, and Keebler raiding the police station to rescue Devin, and they just fucking demolish everybody. There's some fun violence in this one. Most of it is just implied. There's some great little. I mean, we don't have Dave Stewart anymore on colors for this one,
so this one just looks like Invincible, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they do some really fun because there's a lot more of these bright saturated neons colors in this one, and they do some really cool. There are some fun choices with the colors in this one. A lot of pinks, oranges, a lot of teals and bright greens and yellows. But they this one, I think this one's pretty
pink overall.
Yeah.
Sherbert? This one's kind of sherberty.
Yeah, very much so. This one also, I think, has the most outright gore, I would say. They're not. It's not coincidental. You have they're cutting out hearts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess
Plastic did have a lot more of that too. But this one has gore, and which is really fun. Juxtaposed with these fursuits. Yeah. So
I think to condense a little bit. I think that what's different about this one is. In that issue 1, he has that conversation with his friend. Oh my God, I'm being pressured into marrying this woman. She cheated on me. I don't know how I feel. And then at the end of the comic, he runs into these serial killer murderers. So, the real hook that will take you over the next 6 issues isn't about the serial killers. They're incidental. They help move things along, and they actually empower him. The situation that he has to get through actually is about breaking up with his girlfriend. That's the actual conflict of the whole comic. We'll get more into it. They're on his side. They are his allies. The conflict is all there.
There is something thematically too about like kink culture and like self-actualization and this whole like obviously it's elevated, and then we do have like some kind of like supernaturally elements later on, but there is kind of this metaphor of like becoming your own person and like doing what you want to do and being who you want to be. But yeah, so they end up escaping with Devin. They take him to their mansion that is also a old amusement park that was built by their father. We get the backstory that all of them were rescued / kidnapped by their adoptive father and start this family of like cannibalistic furries.
They have this like personal like, what do you say it, like mythology or whatever. Like they have this like I like they have this thing where they're like respectful of the people that they ate. I wrote about it later. The idea, it's basically like in movies where people are like, oh, we will thank the buffalo for the meal that we are about to receive. Thank you for your sacrifice. That's like their attitude towards their victims. They only eat other furries, like as if, you know, these people didn't have enough to worry about.
Yeah. Because they have no problem killing anybody.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they have no problem killing anybody, but they only eat certain people. And there's a funny moment when they're taking Devin to their mansion, and he's like, "Oh, what? Like you don't want to eat me?" Like, well, he gets all offended because like they don't want to eat him.
Yeah, that was funny.
But we get another little connection to Vinyl when we hear Ellie's backstory. I guess she was the daughter of Madeline, and Madeline was gonna kill her because she was a girl and she wanted a son. So like that is like the connection. She has a sunflower pendant. Each of them has like a little thing, like
totem.
a little totem. Yeah. Scratch has this like fucking old, like this mine or what is it, Aztec, like Macuado.
I'm not gonna try to say that.
Yeah,
it looks nasty though. It looks cool as fuck.
Yeah, and he has like a hobby for making like old weapons. And then Scratch is my favorite character. This one, no doubt. Just because there's this whole bit about where he looks like he's like a goat man, like a realistic goat man, and he's. His name is Scratch, and Devin keeps saying like, "Art, like, is this not a devil reference?" Like, and he just like does not see it. It like goes over his
no,
head.
I'm Scratchy.
Yeah, like it's so fun. It's just one of those like fun little things where it's like you don't have to do that, but it makes it more fun when you're just like when you're just everybody has like a little fun thing. We also get the information that Keebler is a dude underneath that, and he's like
exploring their sexuality. Yeah,
and it's really fun. And this mansion that they live at, the backstory is their father had built this amusement park to court Madeline, and she turned him down, and that's when he took Ellie. Yeah, and like this was all for like this, and like that's how they're kind of connected.
Wait, we do have to say the reason that he is invited is because he locked eyes with Ellie in the alley, and their weird thing about like eating people or not eating people. It's like, oh, they have chemistry, so we're gonna save him. We're gonna risk our lives to like pull him into our group. Yeah. So he's resistant to it at first, and then as time goes on, he's like, oh my god, I really did have this connection with you. But even without that, they really are a surrogate to make him stand up for himself. When he gets kidnapped by them, he leaves a note in the ground that's like, fuck you and your cheating daughter. So it's like they're making him more confident. He's standing up for himself.
And he does have a little crisis of faith where he's like, oh, like after he cares about like Ellie and the furries, he's like, well, I don't want them to get fucking murdered. So he like tries to turn himself in, but they're like, oh, fuck you. Like you just killed a bunch of my men. So I'm going to take you and kill them anyways. Yeah, Devin ends up escaping, and they have the big standoff at the mansion. Yeah. So at first, this is something I want to like talk about because like I don't know, what was your read on this? They go in and they kill everybody. Like they kill all the furries. They shoot Keebler. They put 3 arrows in the body, 1 in the head of Scratch, and they fucking shoot Ellie too. But then they all come back. Like, they all come back.
Yeah,
And,
there's that thing earlier. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, like, so, like, there's this whole, like, supernatural element to where it's like, oh, like, actually they do get some kind of powers from eating people, and they're, like, somewhat immortal, I would guess.
In their self-mythology, you get stronger by eating people. And the shot to the chest is unexplained outside of that bit of information, so that's as good as I could imagine. Maybe something to do with like these totems or whatever they have. I'm not sure. Also, they're wearing suits, like you could say. I think it's purposely ambiguous.
Yeah,
Because also serial killers are also just like supermen. Like something about being a serial killer. Like this guy picks up a stop sign
this
with
world,
a buzzsaw on it and fucking splits someone in half. Like.
Yeah.
Humans are squishy and killers are strong as fuck.
And like when Devin finally pulls back up to kind of like back everybody up after they've been like quote unquote killed, like do you think that they're killed? He finds a unicorn furry.
It's his soul.
Yeah, that's his thing. And his totem is this like wedding ring, right? That he was gonna propose to his ex with. There's a funny moment too where Scratch has been like making weapons and stuff, and he makes this like glowing red like pentagram thing. And it's like so like unexplained. Like he's just like, oh, this is super cool. And then like he finally has a moment of realization when he's like killing everybody that like, oh shit, like I see it now. Like I get it.
Their costumes are tweaked, especially the girls. Like that, there's like murder weapons attached to it. The girl has blades in her tail, and they use it a couple times. It's pretty cool. The furry head is also a big giant bear trap, and she'll just like fucking collapse it on people. It looks pretty nice.
That's one thing too I like about this one, which is really fun, is like kills are a little bit more like creative because like they have these like different, they're using their fursuits, they have these like fun like cool weapons. I do love the panel where Ellie like slices the deputy in half like with her tail, and you just see it, like you hear the again awesome fucking Dukeshire sound effect.
The kissy face, remember the kissy face?
Oh,
Keebler's got these weird big fucking lips, and she just holds someone's head up to the kissy face and they just die. They just die. I don't know what happened.
We also get a moment too where we find like their father is like underground and he's just like dead, like he's like just like a fucking zombie, like, and he's just been there dead for like a really long time, and he's just sitting there with like a bunch of old fursuits, which we don't get any more information on, but like it feels appropriate and it doesn't feel like empty.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like it's like the
fun,
psycho
like,
thing. It just adds. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The final kill is Devin using the unicorn horn up the fucking head of the sheriff, which is like is a cool panel.
Something about kink, violence, and love has given him the strength to stand up for himself finally, and the way he stands up for himself is by murdering the person who stood in his way. Is kind of the climax.
And then he decides to join the furries and kind of go off.
They're on the road.
Yeah, he ends up going back home and like recruiting his homie. Like this, because this had all happened like over one night, and so he goes back home the next morning and he's just like, "Hey, bro, like you want to come with us?"
His homie's trying to fuck Keebler. His homie might get ate. It's kind of the last panel on that one.
Yeah, because it's like Scratch is like, oh, by any chance are you a vegetarian? Because Scratch
he only wants to eat vegetarians.
Yeah, but yeah, this is also really fun. Like I like this one.
Yeah.
Like this thing is like this is maybe my least favorite, but out of the three, but it's still good. Like I still really like it, and I still think it has like a lot of like good things going for it. I love like the designs are fun. Like it's that like, oh, guess this Pokemon thing, you know, where it's like the silhouettes. Like I could point them out anywhere now. Like if I see these shapes, like I could see them. Like Hillyard has like a great eye for like character design. I think that comes through in all of his work. Everybody's like, even if there's a little bit same faciness sometimes, like they have everything else about them is very like iconic.
Yeah, no, and they're still putting stuff out. I'll be able to pick their stuff out for a while. What I'll say about Plush is that I like a hero that is like, you know, just like a very traditional, like, goes on their arc thing. With the first two, it's more of a vibe movie. You know what I mean? It's like they're already cool, they're already on top of their game, they're already like got their lives figured out. They don't really go through like an arc. They just solve the problem. Like the third one, it's more like learning to stand up for yourself. And I always like that.
With Plastic and Vinyl, we're also like meeting our main characters at the end of their story. Yeah. Whereas for Plush, it ends with him picking up the ring and being like, oh, maybe a new beginning, kind of a thing. So this is kind of like his origin story, and I could see this going somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
Too. I think like the characters are fun and like it's cool. I'm surprised honestly that they haven't revisited this yet, but we'll see because
well, they're going in order,
Plastic
right?
Death and Dolls,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3.
Plastic
1, 2.
Death and Dolls was really fun. I like the that came out this year along with or last year, that and I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer 2. Death and Dolls prequel following Edwin and his origin story, and then I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer following Rennie after the events of Vinyl. Which I mean, we're not gonna do like full breakdowns of them. Yeah, if you like this, you'll like that. If you're interested to see these characters a little bit more, I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer is a little bit of a departure from these ones because it's more, I feel like it's more Dexter-y in a sense, where you're following Rennie in her like daily life, and then she has a secret extra life of being kind of a vigilante murderer,
just for petty annoyance.
Yeah, there's like a school element to it, which it didn't exactly hit for me, but there were a lot of fun stuff, and it was worth reading just for like more Rennie.
Yeah, more of that. Yeah. Also, there's never the main cover, but those alt covers.
Oh my god! Yeah, I got like the alt covers for all of these are so great.
Goddamn. Yeah, talk about general impressions. What do you think? All three combined universe.
As a whole, I really like it. I think it's really fun, and it feels very like character based too. It's not just like, oh, here's a premise, like these are the people that live in it. It's like, oh, these are the characters, and then we're kind of inferring what the world is around them based on them specifically. And I like that these are all kind of self-contained, but they have like connections to each other. They feel like they can exist in the same world. There's a consistency to it, and it's really, they're all like really fun. Like in general, they're fun, they're funny, they're weird, and like the action, the art, and the writing is really tight and fucking cool to look at and to read. I think it's just good comic.
Good comic book writing.
Yeah, good comic booking.
Just good comic book.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think there'd be like, there's a million ways to like rip this off poorly. I think it probably looks easier than it really is. Like the guy is like we said before, very, very smart about using, or the guy is very, very smart about using the medium to make these awesome action sequences, just on a plot, character relationship, focus note. I think that's what gives these comics so much energy. They have a ton of energy. I'm never bored reading any of them. With the spin-offs a little bit, and I've read some of his other stuff and I didn't like it so much, but with these three things, it's a super fun ride. Yeah, and I hope he can, like, if he wants to keep putting these out, I hope they can keep the quality up and we get more of these stories for sure.
And I do love a good like artist writer duo. Like I think that's fun when like because you hear a lot of like interviews with like writers and artists talking about like how that's one of those things, especially in a medium like comic books, where you find like a crew that you like working with. Like I could tell like they love working with their letterer, you know, get Dave Stewart when you can, but like when you have like, even in Plush, and plastic. Like the colors are awesome. Yeah, I think they're all like really cool, like fun stories, and I think that them working together, it's one of those things where like I could see it being like one of those like Brubaker Phillips, or like, you know, even like Morrison Quietly, you know, like those things where like when you hear those names together, you're like, okay, this is gonna be some quality stuff, or like something that I'm gonna check out for sure.
And they're just, I mean, they're like, you know, in terms of a career, like I feel like they're hitting their stride, you know, like they've been around together for a long time. It's been like 5 years. I don't know how a comic book duo, like I don't know the shelf life on that, but feels like we'll get more out of them. I hope we do.
Yeah, definitely. And I could see these things working too. I mean, like we're in the era of like so much of this like comic books as like proof of concept and light pitches for like shows and movies and things, and this doesn't this doesn't feel like intentional in that way. It doesn't feel like some of the things like Millerverse, where it's just like, oh, we're just making a comic so that we can turn this into a movie. But I could see this working very well as like an adult animation, something along the lines of like Invincible
100%.
or something like that, and just like kind of living in this world because it's fun, and like the characters are endearing and interesting, and like they're just fun to spend time with, which is cool.
Yeah. All right, final recommendations. If you liked this, Ethan, what would people also like?
If you like the serial killer thing, I mean, there's some great serial killer comics out there. I haven't read Nailbiter. You have, right? I've heard good things about Nailbiter.
Oh, hell yeah! Oh my god, that's a whole other universe too. If you fucking like Nailbiter, we'll talk about that. We could talk about connections about that another time, but yes, full-throated.
But maybe more self-contained serial killer stuff. You got From Hell, Alan Moore, awesome. The Jack the Ripper thing predates kind of the serial killer hype a little bit, especially in comics. Also, Stray Toasters, fun, wacky with a serial killer angle, and also recently Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, another like really fun like serial killer.
Yeah!
Also, it's kind of the opposite of this, where like the world is something weird, like because they're all animals,
kind of dark and grim.
Like it's very grounded in like real life, like consequences and like the killing and stuff like that. I think it's really fun. That one's cool.
The people's victims have families, I think, is the big difference between the two.
But yeah, overall, yeah, something like those are some fun ones. If you like the art in this, I do also recommend some maybe Otley stuff, like his like Invincible's great. I think he's back on Battle Beast, the spin-off.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Also, his Spider-Man run was pretty cool for some good Spider-Man stuff. His Nick Spencer, the art is really fun. I do like that. His Spider-Man quite a bit. But what about you? Any other anything that you've read from either Wagner or Hillyard or both that you think would be a good jumping off point?
As always, my recommendation will come from the wider body of work that I could get my hands on. If you like the banter and like the fun violence without even as much as the morality as this one gets into, Beware the Eye of Odin. That's Doug Wagner. D&D-ish, but with like a lot of like Nordic mythology influences. Just fun romp, kind of similar where everyone's a little bit goofy, everyone's over the top, but they're out killing fucking snow trolls. If you like it more grounded and you like the crime element of things, 25 to Life, he did that in 2010. Nope, don't read that one. That's not what I meant. Don't read 25 to Life. I do not recommend that one. The Hard Place, 2017. That's kind of like a Baby Driver type setup. This guy gets out of jail after being a getaway driver, tries to get a bank loan, and then everyone's like, oh shit, it's DJ, get him in the car. And he's like, no. It's pretty good. I like that one. Very tight as well, honestly. Very movie-esque. I like that one a lot.
Right on.
Yeah, those would be my 2 top recs from Doug.
Very cool. But yeah, like in general, like I think this was like a really fun like read, and I think these guys they still got a lot of road ahead of them. I feel like as like a creative duo, and like you were saying, they're just kind of like hitting their stride, and I am kind of excited to see them expand this world a little bit more. And like get a little bit more from them. I would love to like revisit these characters some more and some other things.
Backstory on the Trash Man. Everybody's begging for it.
I loved him. So many little things. But yeah, super fun to read. Do you have a send off for us?
Yes. This has been another episode of Tales from the Gutter. This has been plural. This has been another episode of Tales from the Gutters. Until next time, stay material, girls.
Love it.